Welcome to Saxon Math Course 3, Lesson 6, Converting Measures. Our objectives for today's video: after this lesson you should be able to use a constant to convert between units of measure, learn conversions between several units of measure in the U.S. customary and metric system. Some review from our last lesson. Parts of a fraction. Remember, we have the numerator on the top and the denominator, on the bottom. Finding the fractional part of a group, we divide by the denominator and then multiply that answer by the numerator. And then when we compare fractions, one of the easiest ways to do that is to decide by looking at each fraction whether it's less than, equal to, or greater than 1/2. Now for our new concept. So here's a picture of a table from your book. This is on page 37 in your book if you need it sometime when you're doing homework or something like that. It's got a lot of information on it. We have the U.S. customary and the metric. U.S. customary is what you're used to using: inches, feet, and miles, and yards, ounces, pints, quarts, and gallons, and then ounces, pounds, and tons. And then the metric on the right, we have millimeters, centimeters, meters, kilometers, milliliters and liters, milligrams, grams, kilograms, and then a metric ton. So really, when you start getting to know how to use the metric system, it's a lot easier than using the U.S. customary system, but probably not for you right now because you're used to using inches and feet and yards especially. So just take note of how many of each smaller unit is in the next size up unit, like 12 inches in a foot, 3 feet in a yard, 5,280 feet in a mile, that kind of thing. Especially capacity right here, because that's one a lot of people forget sometimes. So make sure you know where that is in your book and that you know the different units of measure. So now we're going to look at how to convert measurements. We did this in science a little bit, so you've done a little bit of practice with this. So we're either going to multiply or divide the given measurement by a constant in order to find the converted measurement. And the constant is going to be how many of those smaller units are in the next size up. If we move from a larger unit to a smaller unit, like feet to inches or yards to feet, then we're going to multiply because it takes more of the smaller unit than the bigger unit to measure the same size object. And opposite, if we're going from smaller to larger units, we're going to divide. So here's an example. Reggie took 36 big steps to walk the length of the hallway. If each step was about a yard, how many feet long was the hallway? So essentially, Reggie walked 36 yards, and we want to change yards to feet. We're going from a larger unit to a smaller unit. Yards are bigger than feet, so we're going to multiply. The constant we're going to use is 3 because there are 3 feet in 1 yard. So we multiply 36 times 3 and we find out that he walked 108 feet. Here's another example. The 5,000 meter run is an Olympic event. How many kilometers is that supposed to be? 5,000 meters. We want to move from a smaller unit to a larger one, so we're going to divide. Meters are smaller than kilometers, so we're going to divide. The constant we're using is 1,000 because there are 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. So we divide 5,000 divided by 1,000 and we find out it is 5 kilometers. Sometimes we want to change mixed measures into a single measure. The most common example for that would be something like if you're 5 feet 4 inches tall, how many inches tall total are you? Here's another example. James weighed 8 pounds and 10 ounces at birth. How many ounces did James weigh? So the way we do that is by converting the pounds to ounces, same way we just did those other conversions. We'll use the constant of 16 since there are 16 ounces in 1 pound. We're moving from a larger unit to a smaller one. Pounds are bigger than ounces, so we're going to multiply. 16 times 8 is 128 ounces. And now here's the extra step. We have to add the ounces we already started with to our converted measurement. So the 128 ounces represents the 8 pounds. We have to add the extra 10 ounces, and we find out he weighed. That's all for your video today. Make sure you do your practice problems and post any questions you have to the discussion section so we can talk about them next time. We'll see you in lesson number 7.